Transition probability for constant perturbation. In this topic, we have assumed that time perturbation is independent of time. In the first equation, I have written first order transition probability, which is taken from the Dyson series, which we have earlier derived in the previous lecture for the transition probability. Dyson series Dyson series is a series of transition probability in which we can find out transition up to any order, but here we have only written the first order transition probability. Here psi I represent the initial state vector of the system, psi f represent the final state vector of the system, capital V represent the perturbation. As it is independent of time, so the whole matrix element is taken out from the interval and integration is only applied to the exponential factor. After putting limits, we will have after putting limits and doing some simpler calculation, we have the equation A. Now use well known expression, that is mod square of exponential iota theta minus 1 equal to 4 sine square theta by 2. Theta in our case is equal to omega fi into t. After putting this, we have equation C. Now student, look at the equation C. You can observe, you can notice the transition probability PIF is proportional to sine square of omega fi t by 2. It means transition probability is oscillating or changing with time as a function of sine square. Important thing here, the important thing is we assume the system under constant perturbation, but the transition probability changing sinusoidally with the time. The transition probability is an oscillating sinusoidal function with a period of 2 pi by omega fi. The time period of this oscillating function can be derived as I have mentioned it in the box. You can see that you already know the time period of sine theta is equal to 2 pi, time period of sine square theta is equal to pi, and putting the value of theta, we have the time period equal to t pi over 2 omega fi. Here omega fi equal to difference in the energy divided by 2. Ef is the higher energy or the final energy state. Ei is the initial energy in which the system is initially present. Case 1, for short time or for lower frequency limit, when omega fi approaches to 0 or final state energy approaches to initial state energy, it means there is no much difference between the final state energy and the initial state energy. For smaller angle, we know when according to situation, according to the case or according to the limit, when omega fi approaches to 0, it means the sine square omega fi have sine square theta is equal to theta, means omega fi going to 0 means theta is becoming very small. Theta is here omega phi t by 2, so sine square theta approximately equal to omega fi square t square over 4. Now put this in equation C and we will have finally the equation D. Now this equation have also very importance. Here you can see the transition probability is directly proportional to t square. It means transition probability grows quadratically with the time when the perturbation is turned on, or when the you can say that initially when the perturbation is turned on, the transition probability goes quadratically with the time. Here you can see this in the plot. The orange bold color represent the quadratic behavior of transition probability of a system going from initial state to some final state. We have discussed this in the limit of short time when the perturbation is just turned on. But now we discuss the second case when time approaches to infinity. For this we now look at the plot of sine square omega fi t by 2 over omega square fi versus omega fi. You can see it is like the interference pattern. The peak of the sine square omega fi t by 2 divided by omega square fi is equal to t square by 4, whereas the width is equal to 1 over t. Width is equal to 1 over t. How you can take the peak or height of the of this central peak? You can use the sinc function. From the plot you can see the central peak is origin at omega fi approximately equal to 0, when it means when final energy state approximately equal to initial energy state. The plot will have its maximum peak. Away from the origin it decays rapidly with the time. Now you have to find the height of this peak using sinc function. When applying limits x equal to 0 to sinc function is sin x over x equal to 1. Doing some simple calculation, we have this t square over 4. I have mentioned all the calculation. X in our case equal to omega fi t by 2. Okay. In the plot, the transition probability is greatest only when initial energy is approximately equal to final energy when omega fi approaches to 0. Now you can find out the area under the curve. The area under this curve is proportional to t. Okay. How? Height into width equal to area under the curve. Height equal to t square by 4 into width equal to 1 over t. You multiply both of them and then have the area equal to t. Area under the curve represent the transition probability, and you can see the transition probability here is proportional to time. Transition it means for the longer time or when the time approaches to infinity, transition probability changes linearly with the time. You have you have noticed that you discussed two cases. For the shorter period of time, transition probability changes quadratically in time, but for the longer period of time, transition probability becomes linear in time. If time increases, the central peak become more narrow and higher, like this. If time is more increased, the peak will have the shape of spikes, and this is the property of the Dirac delta function. Using asymptotic relation to why we have used asymptotic relation, we have explained theoretically that for the longer period of time, as time increases, the transition probability have the behavior of Dirac delta function. Now we have to prove it mathematically, so we use asymptotic relation given in equation E. You can see all the simple calculation. I have mentioned all this. Now see equation H. The argument of Dirac delta function is omega fi. To change it in energy, we have multiplied it with H using the property of Dirac delta function. Now H implies the transition probability is proportional to Dirac delta function, which can be written as this. you can see the transition probability is directly proportional to time for the longer period of time. Okay, for the time goes to infinity. Now find transition rate. Transition rate is transition probability per unit time. Divide transition probability with time, and we have finally this equation. You already know the Dirac delta function will survive only when its argument is equal to 0. So EF minus EI should be equal to 0. It means EF should be equal to EI. EF is final energy state. EI is the energy of initial state. It should be both. It should both have the same energy. It means transition probability for the constant perturbation is only non-vanishing when the transition is happening between two state having the same energy. This is the important result of constant perturbation. As we said, the transition probability is happening between two states of same energy, so this type of transition is energy conserving transition, and it is also called as DC perturbation. Energy conserving transition and DC perturbation. As energy is not changing, so we can say when transition in this transition system neither takes energy from from any external source, or nor supply any energy to external source. It means transition neither removes energy from the system, neither supply to it. Okay, this is the end of the topic. So you have to remember two important points. First, for the shorter period of time, transition probability for the constant perturbation goes linearly with the time, goes quadratically, not linearly, goes quadratically with the time. But for the longer period of time, the transition probability goes linearly with the time, and you have to remember this plot. From this plot you can easily get the concept of this topic. Okay.